unmute? Perfect. Hello guys. Good morning, and thanks for joining this session. So, as we are expecting this session to be held from last few weeks, so here is the time that we can meet now. So, let me just give you a brief introduction about my professional experience, so that you could understand where I could stand out. So, teaching you this Qualys platform. So I have around 8 years of experience and preferably worked with a lot into security operations, incident response, threat hunting, vulnerability assessment, and even into governance and penetration testing. Vulnerability management. So the tool that we are using is Qualys. So guys, please Vasu, can you please mute yourself because it's gonna get to disturb the rest of us here. Please mute yourself. Okay, unmute yourself. Okay, I have around 5 to 6 years of experience working with different vulnerability management platforms like Qualys, Nessus. So we've got Nexpose from Rapid7. These are the three major vulnerability management tools that is being used by the organizations. As you know about my professional background now, so as we move on, so you will also be knowing more about my professional experience, and as well, how are we going to work on Qualys together so that we could able to enhance our skills to try to get a job or try to upskill ourselves within Qualys. So this particular session agenda is going to be very simple. This is a very quick demo session for us to understand. So what are we going to learn from this particular course? So what are the different modules that we are going to cover in Qualys, and how Qualys is being implemented by the organizations, and how does it work to find the vulnerability so that we can able to work on the remediation efforts. I will not be using any presentations here. So now I'm not a presentation guy, showing you the presentation. So taking a line there and talking about it. So that is not the way that I teach. So I wanted to teach everything practically from the demo session itself. So I wouldn't be using any presentations, but what I'll be using a whiteboard, a virtual whiteboard where we can able to have the traditional method of learning. So by writing on the whiteboard and understanding. So what is Qualys and what are we going to deal with Qualys for our course within. We'll be learning L1 level, L2 level, and also the advanced level of L3 in Qualys within this particular course. So let me share my screen and let me take you to the whiteboard. So just give me a minute. Okay, I'm going to use a blank whiteboard. Okay, this is for Qualys. Perfect. Qualys, I can say admin course. Okay, I can share my screen. Okay, so I'll first, as this is the first session, so if you wanted to learn any tool within security, first we have to understand the logic. So why, we have to have these basic questions asked. So what is Qualys? So, what is vulnerability assessment? So why should the organizations need vulnerability assessment tools? So how is it going to serve security for that better infrastructure? How the vulnerability assessment tools so coordinate with the security team so that we can able to enhance the performance of security, or we can able to increase the security posture. So in this demo session, so we'll try to understand the logic of why a cybersecurity needs vulnerability assessment tools, and what is our agenda for this particular course, and what are all the topics that we are going to discuss, And so as I do have access to our Qualys live platform, so I'll be showing you our live environment. So identifying the vulnerabilities, performing different schedule scans, creating option profiles. So there's different types of scans that you can perform. So when you would be using these scans, so there's a lot many things to talk about. First, let's understand. So what is Qualys? One second. So here is our whiteboard that you can see on our screen. Okay, Qualys. What is this? So this is a vulnerability assessment tool. So I can call this as a VMDR. VMDR. So what is VMDR? So vulnerability management, detection and response. So it manages the vulnerabilities, detect the vulnerabilities, and we could also able to respond to these vulnerabilities in order to fix it. So vulnerability is 1 second. My pen, digital pen is having some issue. Just a second. Sorry for this. So this is vulnerability management, detection, and response. Okay. So first we have to understand, so what is this particular tool? So let's try to decode some of the very basic questions. So what is vulnerability assessment? Okay, so you have to understand the terminology here. So you have your infrastructure. Let's say we are working for this particular company. So let's say this company is Flipkart. Now, they have a lot of assets deployed across their infrastructure. So, all of these assets that they are using within their infrastructure is serving outsiders so that they could able to do the businesses, right? So, the Flipkart has a lot of assets. So, what is an asset? Asset is anything that the organization is trying to protect. So whenever within cybersecurity, so if you hear the term called asset, asset is anything that the organization is trying to protect. That the organization is trying to protect. Okay. So this might include different types of servers, the networking devices, the security devices like firewalls, IPS, IDS, proxies, VPNs, even antiviruses. So you have domain controllers, you have data centers, you have on-premise, different types of servers. So database servers. There's a lot of assets, right? So now there's a lot of assets. Some of them may be the servers, domain controllers, data centers, so have active directories. So you've got networking devices, you've got security devices. Now, okay, so what is vulnerability assessment? So now what vulnerability assessment does is, so it identifies all of the assets that needs to be protected by the organization. Now let's say this is my device that I'm using right now. Okay, so let's say this is a server that is being deployed across this particular infrastructure. Now, so here as I have my server, I wanted to find the vulnerabilities. So there are a lot of existing vulnerabilities. So first of all, you have to know what is a vulnerability. So the tool itself is a vulnerability management tool. So what is a vulnerability? So vulnerability can be any loophole or a weakness where an attacker will try to take advantage, will try to take advantage or infect a vulnerability, infect, where we just have to just say it can be a loophole or weakness where an attacker will try to take advantage or infect it. So now only if the vulnerability exists, let's say if there's only if there's a vulnerability, only then attacker can come and take advantage of this vulnerability or infect it, and then you have access to the resources. So now because of this vulnerability, there will be a threat to the organization. There will be a threat to the organization. So what is this threat? So as there is a weakness across our infrastructure, across a system that is being used across the infrastructure, now so as vulnerability exists, so may attack attacker may compromise a vulnerability at any time, vulnerability at any time. So this poses threat to the organization. This poses security threat to the organization. Okay. Now, because of vulnerability, there is a threat to the organization. Now, as there is a threat, there is security risk. So all of this are correlated. So one of the interview questions that is being asked, if you are working for vulnerability management, so what is a vulnerability? So what is threat and what is risk? So now you know what is vulnerability, what is threat. So now as so attacker can compromise the vulnerability at any time on my infrastructure. So obviously there is a security risk associated. So now as threat persist as threat persists on an infrastructure, so attacker can attack any time. So now this gives security risk to an organization. Security risk to an organization. So now what is the objective of cybersecurity team across the infrastructure? Okay, now we are a part of cybersecurity team. So what is our intention? Our intention is to decrease the cybersecurity risk. So we have to decrease the cybersecurity risk. In order to decrease the cybersecurity risk, I have to decrease the threat. So in order to decrease the threat, so I have to ensure that there are no vulnerabilities. But there are vulnerabilities. So now I have my server. So there's a lot of vulnerabilities on my server. So do you think is it possible for us to manually find the existing vulnerabilities? Because within my system I'm using a lot of different processors, a lot of services, a lot of technologies, so a lot of applications being used here. Now so the vulnerability can be from anywhere. So if you ask me to find these vulnerabilities manually, so how do we find them? So we cannot find them manually for sure. So it is a lot of time waste process, and we cannot rely on manual method of finding the vulnerabilities. So then how do we find the existing vulnerabilities across that system so that we could able to fix that vulnerability to decrease the cybersecurity threat, so that will directly be impacting the cybersecurity risk? So all we can do, all the organizations can able to do is manage these vulnerabilities. So they have to find, in order to manage these vulnerabilities, so they have to find them, identify them, and fix them. So this is the major responsibility of vulnerability management. It can be any tool. So if it is a vulnerability assessment tool, so the major activity that we should be doing is to identify the vulnerabilities that is there across all of the assets, so that we could able to fix it. Okay, we identify it, then later, so according to how much risk that we have on that specific vulnerability, based on that risk, so we will try to fix it. So now why do we need this VMDR? Why the organizations implement this VMDR? So that they could able to manage all the vulnerabilities by identifying them, by detecting them, and providing the vulnerabilities a response so that we could able to fix it. So this is the whole intention of vulnerability management tool. So it can be any tool. The process is this. So now in cybersecurity, one thing doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter the tool. So the only thing that matters is the process. So it can be any vulnerability assessment tool. So the whole intention of this specific tool is very simple. So now whatever the assets that we are using, so anything that we are trying to protect, now we have to find the existing vulnerabilities of these assets. So now, so in order to find these existing vulnerabilities, I would use vulnerability management tool. Sorry, I would use vulnerability management tool so that I can find the existing vulnerabilities. And now, as I find, so I can fix it to decrease the cybersecurity threat, and that decreases the cybersecurity risk. And one thing that we can all manage is the vulnerabilities. So now, as we find the vulnerabilities and we have to fix them up. So this is VMDR. So now we do manage to find the vulnerabilities, detect the vulnerabilities, and provide response to fix these vulnerabilities. Okay, the question here is, okay, we are using security team is using VMDR to identify the vulnerabilities. Now, who's going to fix it? Who's going to fix these vulnerabilities? So now fixing the vulnerabilities will not be a part of our activity. So fixing up the vulnerabilities is a part of different technological teams or different software teams. If it is okay, if it is coming from a networking device, let's say it is coming from a switch. There's a vulnerability on a switch. So who manages switches? So a networking team. So networking team would fix it. So there is a web server that is being deployed physically. So now there's a vulnerability on a web server service that they use. So who are the ones to fix it? So the web server team, the server management team fixes it. So now our job is to find the existing vulnerabilities, identify the existing vulnerabilities. So first point is to identify the vulnerabilities first. So this can be done by scanning our assets. So by scanning a vulnerability, by using vulnerability assessment tools, we will scan the entire infrastructure to identify any vulnerabilities. Okay, you identified it. Okay, for example, you have identified 100 vulnerabilities. Now, within this 100, so you have to fix all of these 100. So, which specific vulnerability would you be fixed first? So now you would fix the vulnerability that has higher risk. So that has higher threat that can be exploitable, or it can be a zero-day vulnerabilities. So now, so as you identify the vulnerabilities, so the next thing that we have to do is we have to prioritize. So which vulnerability needs to be fixed? So now you would filter these vulnerabilities based on severity. Filter the vulnerabilities so based on severity. So this severity can be categorized using many different factors. So once we get into the tools, I'll explain you how the prioritization happens. So now whatever the 100 vulnerabilities that we've got, so we'll try to filter them. Okay, so then 25 are critical. So this can be exploitable. So maybe 45 are high. And so let's say 70, another 30 are being medium prioritized vulnerabilities. Now, so as you have found 100 vulnerabilities and you have prioritized them, so now which one would you be fixed first? So obviously you would be fixing the critical ones that poses higher risk. and then comes to high, and then comes to medium. Now, so there will be SLAs. So very important. There will be SLAs. What is SLA? SLA is the service level agreement. Service level agreements. So SLA term is being used in everywhere, but we do also use it in vulnerability assessment. So SLAs are the deadline that is given to a technical that is given to the product owner team, whoever owns that specific asset, to fix the vulnerability. So if it is a critical vulnerability, so this has to be fixed within 24 to 48 hours. That means within 1 to 2 days has to be fixed. So within 1 to 2 days. This is the deadline. This is SLA given to the technical team to fix it. So if it is high, so it should be fixed within 15 days. So it depends on the organizations, guys. This may vary for your infrastructure, but I'm talking in general category. So now if it is medium, it has to be fixed within 30 days. If it is low, it has to be fixed within 45 days. So based on the severity of a vulnerability, so there are SLAs that is given to the technical team to fix this vulnerabilities based on the prioritization that we get. So now how do we filter the severity and who's going to do it? So that is going to be done by your VMDR platform. So how it does it? So it uses a lot of different factors like CVE, CVSS score, CWE, a lot of different factors. So it considers all of these factors, analyze the impact so on the severity, and then so they would prioritize these vulnerabilities. Okay, first you identified it, so later you are going to prioritize it. So your tool will help you to prioritize whether it is a critical vulnerability or a high prioritized or a medium prioritized. So once you prioritize this particular vulnerabilities, so you have to make an effort to fix these vulnerabilities. So you have to notify the product owner teams, or you can say technical teams, to fix the vulnerability. Okay, so here is where we will be learning ticketing tools like Jira and ServiceNow, which is called as Snow. So here you found a vulnerability. So how you have to let the technical team know about this vulnerability so that they could fix it. So how do you let them know? So you will be creating a ticket. So you'll be creating a vulnerability ticket so that so you assign this ticket to that technical team so that they could able to fix it. Okay. So first what you have done, so you use vulnerability management identified and prioritized. Sorry. So as it is prioritized, so you use ticketing tools to create a ticket of that specific vulnerability to fix it. So now later, once you have notified, so you have to monitor and follow up. So you have to monitor and follow up with the ticket based on SLA. Based on SLA. Okay, a ticket has been assigned to you. Let's say you are a security engineer working for vulnerability assessment tool. So you have created a ticket. You found some vulnerability on OpenSSH somewhere on a system which is critical, and you have notified me. You have assigned me a ticket to fix it. Now it's not just your job to assign that specific vulnerability to fix it. So you have to monitor that specific ticket. Okay. So now this is a critical ticket that has to be fixed within 1 to 2 days. So now you let that team know that it is critical and expecting it to be fixed within 1 to 2 days. So now, as they might have fixed it, you have to confirm if that vulnerability has been remediated or fixed. So you would be, using your tool, scan that specific asset and identify if that specific vulnerability is fixed or not. So in case if they do not fix it, so you have to do the follow up. So why did this vulnerability not fixed? So there is a lot of security risk from this vulnerability. So you would keep on talking to the technical teams until you fix it, so that all of our intention is to decrease the cybersecurity risk. So now how can we decrease the cybersecurity risk? By decreasing the vulnerabilities. Now, how do we decrease the vulnerabilities? So as we identify, prioritize, and notify the teams to fix it, so that we can able to decrease the vulnerabilities. So the whole intention of this VMDR tool is to identify the existing vulnerabilities across the system, so that we can able to work on fixing up this specific vulnerabilities based on SLA, service level agreement. So I hope you understood what is VMDR. So VMDR is very simple. So if I just want to write the summary, so this is the tool that identifies the existing vulnerabilities. Tool to identify existing vulnerabilities. So now this is also a tool that prioritizes the vulnerability based on the severity. Okay, this is what is a VMDR. So now why do we have to use it? You already know the answer for this. So now why do you use it? Because to decrease cybersecurity risk, to decrease cybersecurity risk of an organization. If there are hundreds of vulnerabilities, the attackers can come or can hack into any of these vulnerabilities. So now, in order to stop the probability of being compromised on an infrastructure, you have to ensure to decrease as much vulnerabilities as possible. Now, this is why the organizations use this particular tool, so that they could able to find the existing vulnerabilities and fix them to decrease the cybersecurity risk. So why do we use it? To decrease the cybersecurity risk. So by identifying and fixing the existing vulnerabilities, by identifying and fixing the existing vulnerabilities. Okay, this is what is Qualys, or what is VMDR, and why we have to use VMDR. So now let's also try to decode how it is being implemented. So how is it being implemented? For this, so we have to learn the architecture of this VMDR, Qualys VMDR platform. Architecture of Qualys VMDR. So we have to understand how the Qualys is being integrated across all of our assets. So now how Qualys is performing different types of scans in order to find these existing vulnerabilities. So in order to do these scans, so what are all the different types of configurations that we have made on these scans to find the existing vulnerabilities, and later on, so how can we prioritize these vulnerabilities and work with the different ticketing tools to notify the owners or to fix these vulnerabilities. And then now once it is being fixed, we can able to decrease the security risk. So you know what is Qualys, what is VMDR now, why it is being used. And so for the next session, we're going to understand the architecture of Qualys. So we'll try to understand, okay, so how is it being implemented across the infrastructure. So they have different agents. The Qualys agents will be pushed to these assets, and these agents will continuously scan across the infrastructure. So based on how frequently we wanted to scan the asset, every day, every week, so we can set up these configurations on the agent, so that the agent will scan this specific asset to find any existing vulnerabilities. So the architecture is very easy to understand. So let's try to look into this for tomorrow's session. So meanwhile, what I'll do quickly now, I'll quickly take you to the Qualys console and show you. So what are all the different things that you can see there? And before that, so this is a life cycle. This is a cycle process, guys. So first you identify it, and then so you would prioritize it, and then so you would fix it, and then so okay, you prioritized, you fixed, and then so you're just going to identify again. So it's not just that okay, you identified a vulnerability and fixed it. There might be today, we found much more vulnerabilities. Tomorrow we may find more. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, we may identify more. This should be a repeated process. So it's not just okay, I identified all the vulnerabilities today and fixed it. So tomorrow you may find more. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you may find more. So this is a very continuous process. It keeps on happening. So it keeps on because the vulnerabilities keeps on popping up, and as vulnerabilities exist, so now we have to prioritize and fix it. So I'll also show you how Qualys VMDR lifecycle is. If I just go to Google, okay, I'll just say Qualys VMDR lifecycle. Okay, so if you see this, so guys, I'll make sure all of our Qualys sessions is very much practical. So we can talk a lot of theory. I don't want to talk a lot of theory instead of not understanding what is the logic of why are we using this particular tool. So being a professional working for Qualys, so we have to ensure we understand this practically on how we can implement Qualys to our infrastructure better security, how we identify and how do we work with different technical teams to fix these vulnerabilities. So if you see this VMDR, okay, this is the life cycle. So first thing, we would start with asset management. I told you what is an asset. So first, so these are all the assets we have got. Now you have to manage your assets on what are the assets that you wanted to find the vulnerabilities on, so that you can integrate Qualys to. So if you can integrate Qualys to this assets, so Qualys agents will scan these assets to find any existing vulnerabilities. So first you have to do the asset management. So you manage all the assets, so where you can able to find the vulnerabilities. So once you manage your assets, so then you have to find the existing vulnerabilities. So this is where we would install the Qualys agents, so across all of the assets, so that we can find the existing vulnerability. So you do an asset management, and then you find the vulnerabilities and then perform vulnerability management. So now as you found multiple vulnerabilities, so you just have to detect and prioritize these vulnerabilities. So as you found 100, so you cannot just fix one by one. So first you have to fix the ones that is more critical, that poses a lot of security risk. So here is where you do prioritization. So now based on the severity, based on the EPSS score, based on the true risk score, so based on the CVSS score, based on a CVE, so you basically prioritize the vulnerability. So once you prioritize, so then once you identify, so you are going to respond to that specific vulnerability by fixing it. So maybe most of the vulnerabilities can be fixed by patching. Patching is nothing but an updating that specific application. If it is all third-party applications, we can just patch a vulnerability and then we can be able to fix it. So now, this VMDR also has the capability of doing this automation, doing this patching automatically. So that's why we call this as VMDR, Vulnerability Management Detection and Response. So now, as you know about what is a vulnerability, Now we also have to know some of the key terms of a vulnerability. So you know what is vulnerability, right? So now what are the key terms of a vulnerability? So vulnerability, it can be so any loophole where an attacker can take advantage or infect a vulnerability to access a machine. So now, so how do we provide an ID to a vulnerability? There are hundreds of vulnerabilities, thousands of vulnerabilities. How do we identify a vulnerability? So every vulnerability that is found across any service, that is given a specific ID to find it. That ID is given by using a CVE. So CVE followed with the year when it got disclosed, and so a specific ID for that specific vulnerability. So this CVE is a common vulnerability exposure. Common vulnerability exposure. So every vulnerability will be given a common vulnerability exposure ID to it. So which is maintained by MITRE, one of so the open source security projects that manages the vulnerabilities. And now, so as you have a CVE, so CVE defines you what vulnerability it is. Now that vulnerability will have an impact, right? So how much does it going to have an impact? So we have to prioritize. So what is this vulnerability and how much severity this vulnerability is? So now this severity would be given by a CVSS score. CVSS score. So what is CVSS score? Common vulnerability scoring system. Common vulnerability scoring system. So every vulnerability will have a score from 1 to 10. So 1 being minimum, 10 being so the maximum. So now right now the organizations are using the CVSS version 3. So it has 5 different categories: critical, high, medium, low information. So there's 5: critical, so high, medium, so low, and information ones. Right, if it is from 9 to 10, it is being considered as critical. If it is from 7 to 9, it is considered as high. So if it is from 4 to 7, it is considered as medium. If it is from 1 to 4, it is considered as low. If it is 0 to 1, it is considered as low. So based on every CVE will be given a CVSS score. And now based on this CVSS code, you can able to prioritize the vulnerabilities. I can show you a very small example for that. So I can just ask Google, so show me the recent vulnerabilities found in April 2025. Okay. So you see there are a significant number of vulnerabilities were discovered across many multiple technologies, many multiple applications. It can be this vulnerability can come from anywhere. Okay, now you see there, including some of the ones is RCE, remote code execution, in various softwares and systems. So Microsoft released 124 new CVEs. That means so in Microsoft infrastructure, the products or the services that they offer, so there are 124 bugs, security bugs, and each security bug will be given a CVE, including vulnerabilities and Windows components or fees. And notable, these vulnerabilities can be of different categories. There's one this category called as 0-day vulnerability, which is considered to be very prioritized vulnerability. I'll talk about this. And there's also some of a 0-day vulnerability. You see, CVE 2025. So I know this CVE, this is being discovered in 2025, and there's a specific number given to it. If I just go here, So this is being managed by MITRE. So you see cve.mitre. If I just click on it, okay, MITRE has been disabled. I guess maybe we'll try to look into here. NVD, National Vulnerability Database. It contains all the information of the vulnerabilities. So what is CVE 2025? This is, you can see the description. Use after free in Windows Common Log File System driver allows an authorized attacker to elevate privileges locally. So they can able to do a privilege escalation because there is a vulnerability on Windows Common Log File System. You can see what is this vulnerability. So how can you fix this vulnerability? So you can fix this vulnerability by updating that specific application, that specific version of Windows log file system, and so that you call this as patching. So this way, for every vulnerability, so there will be a CVE. So CVE is the ID given to that specific vulnerability to define it, and for every vulnerability there is CVSS code. So I might show you what is the CVSS code. You see the base score 7.8 CVSS, common vulnerability scoring system. This is high because so this is from 7 to 9. So this is considered to be high prioritized. Let's say you found 10 vulnerabilities, and within 10 vulnerabilities, so 3 are critical and 4 are high and another 3 are medium. Which one are we going to fix first? We are going to fix the critical ones first, right? So that's why CVSS score is given. So it gives us the severity so of that specific vulnerability, so that we can able to determine which ones to be fixed first. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a quick understanding on what this platform does, what it offers us, and why is it being used by the organization. So once we meet for tomorrow, we could probably discuss the architecture of Qualys. So as we discuss about the architecture of Qualys, so I will be showing you our platform. So you can also install Qualys on your device. So we can try to do a vulnerability scan. So there's a lot of different scans, option profiles, configurations. So how do you to do troubleshooting? So how do you do an on-demand scan, a scheduled scan? So there's a lot of different administrative tasks within our VMDR. So once we start the session, so we'll understand what would be our agenda, learning of each of the specific topics within Qualys, and by the end of this particular course, so what you would expect is so you can use Qualys VMDR. You can be in a vulnerability management team. So you can configure the agents working for any of these vulnerability management, either Qualys, Nessus, or Expose. So you will have understanding towards deployment, integration, and configuration of the assets, or configuration of the so agent that is being deployed across the sensors. And later, so how do we prioritize the vulnerabilities to fix it based on SLAs? So you'll be working with the different ticketing tools, as well as you would also be doing an automated response. So you'll be creating rules on how different automation of the vulnerabilities, how the vulnerability is found, if there is a patch to update it, so how the response can be taken care by the Qualys. So we can look into all of this. So let me also show you. So by logging in, I'll just show you I'll just show you the interface for now, and once we start talking about this, we can talk in depth about it. So let me stop sharing until I log into my Qualys. Just a second. Okay, so and guys, as this is the first session, I would also like to interact with you and know you. And if you could tell me what are your expectations So based on your expectations, we can also try to add some topics to this Qualys as well. So if you could talk to me about, what are you expecting from this course? So based on that, we'll try to design this course. But anything that you want me to make you learn in Qualys, so I could definitely do that for you. So this course is designed for you, and I would like to know what exactly that you are expecting, so that we can try to fulfill all of your requests here. So I just logged into Qualys. I'll just show you how this works. Let me share my screen. Okay, they have launched a new user interface. Their new user interface is so very cool. So whatever the interface that they had before, so they have revolutionized it and ensured everything looks. This is the dashboard. You can see all the vulnerabilities. You can do prioritization. So you can do scans or different types of scans to find the existing vulnerabilities. And now once you do scans, it gives us the reports. So by giving us all the vulnerabilities that a specific asset does. So what are you trying to do with the remediation efforts? How are you going to, are you doing an automated response to this remediation? So now what are your remediation efforts? You can track it here. You can do asset management. As I said, asset management, we have to do the first thing is asset management. So you can able to do asset management from here. So you can integrate your threat intelligence platform to find any new vulnerabilities that is popping up. So there's some knowledge base where you can learn about Qualys, what it could do, and you could also do some management related to who can access your Qualys platform. User management is done here. So there's a lot of things here, guys. So now as we go through with this course, so we will be looking into each of this. So now what is a vulnerability? What are the different types? How do you prioritize it? What are different types of scans? So when you do scans, you would be choosing what option profile to be needed. So how do you create a new option profile? How do you use that option profile to perform different individual type of scans? There's a lot of things to discuss about. So based on our requirement, so we will be learning from the scratch till the advanced level of polish from this specific course. Right, so that is all I have for today. And if you have anything to talk to me, so just please do let me know, guys. So if you could let me understand what you're expecting from this course, so maybe we can try to design this curriculum in that way. So any questions, Mafia, Mubarak, Sayed, Tebu? Yes, so Tebu, definitely. So there's a lot of opportunity for vulnerability assessment because once you start using vulnerability assessment, it's not just you find one or two vulnerabilities. You'll be finding thousands of vulnerabilities. So now who would be trying to work on these vulnerabilities to fix it? So now we are the ones. So there will be a separate vulnerability assessment tool. So there, whoever works on this vulnerability assessment team, they'll be working with this VM team. So there are definitely a lot of job opportunities. Yes, Syed, I can provide you that whiteboard link. So once you guys get enrolled to this, because this is the whiteboard that we are going to use. So from the beginning lecture until we complete it. So all the theory that we discuss, as I said, I will not deal with presentations. I won't like it. So I know that it is boring. So I don't want you to be bored. So as you listen to me on this session. So once you get enrolled, so now as you have it right now, you can see. So I'll provide this to you. So just please just wait for 1 or 2 days as we get the enrollment. So I can share you the notes for sure. Any more
I
questions?
have a
Yes.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once we identify all the vulnerabilities, scanning is done, prioritizing is, right? So normally we have like a weekly vulnerability review meetings, right?
Exactly.
So in this meeting, especially when we are the host, right,
Hmm.
to presentation, right? So what is that we need to learn about those vulnerabilities that we what exactly we need to learn about that vulnerability to do in the presentation, and uh,
Hmm.
and what can we suggest, you know, apart from getting the progress, what would be the effective way to present about these vulnerabilities in the weekly reviews meetings?
Okay. So weekly reviews related to vulnerability assessment, it completely focuses on the objective of how well the remediation is happening. So we do have this vulnerability review not just within our security team. So we will be meeting the top leaders of different technologies across the infrastructure because these are the teams to fix it. So the whole objective of weekly review vulnerability assessment meetings is to ensure, okay, what are the vulnerabilities that we have found and what are the remediation efforts that we are trying to make to decrease the vulnerabilities. So this completely focuses on letting the technical teams know that so there's critical zero-day vulnerabilities and letting them know what would be the impact if we do not fix these vulnerabilities. So we completely focus on identifying them. So let them know what would be the impact if it wouldn't be fixed, so that they could be fixing these vulnerabilities based on the SLAs that we give. And we would also be working with the top leadership teams. Sometimes, let's say you are a vulnerability assessment engineer, so you are the ones to identify, prioritize them, and assign this specific ticket to different technical teams to fix it. So now, what would you do if they don't fix that vulnerability? It's your responsibility to make them fix it. So what would you do? Now, you would also be contacting your our own cybersecurity leadership teams. Maybe we're talking to our senior manager, maybe the vice president of the technology of the security, or even CISO. So we would also get some coordination with the top level leaders and talking to the different technical teams to fix these vulnerabilities. So I could say the bottom line, it completely focuses on letting the technical team understands what would be the impact, so that will make them work on the remediation efforts. So, but anyway, as we progress with the course, I'll show you that on live, Muhammad.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. And anyway, thanks for that question. It's a really worthwhile question to answer. Thanks for that. And
Okay.
what will be the class timings? The class timings will be same. So it will be from 8:30 to 9:30 every morning Indian time. So how can this be used with cloud security or cloud vulnerabilities? So maybe a very good question. So if you see Qualys VMDR, so they have different components here. So you see, so the way that we find the vulnerabilities on what specific assets. So based on that, there's different categories within Qualys. So Qualys is basically used for both cloud as well as both on premises assets that we've deployed, anything that we've deployed on the cloud as well. So now, yes, the Qualys can be used for both the cloud as well as on premise. So it can be used for both of it to find existing vulnerabilities. So, but it needs different modules, guys. You'll have container security, cloud and SaaS security. You see total cloud security, container security. So you do access management from here. You do operations to fix these vulnerabilities from here. And now these vulnerabilities would also have impact on the frameworks that the organizations are using. Cybersecurity frameworks like SOX, PCI, SOC 2, HIPAA, GDPR, ISO. Now these vulnerabilities may have impact to the complaints as well. So if we do not get audit clear of security, we cannot do business. So now it is also one of the key tasks, so for the organizations to this work to fix the vulnerability so that we don't have any impact on this compliances. We've got application security, sensor management, I spoke about an agent, right? So the agent is the sensor. So there's different types of agents. How do you manage them? A lot of administration tasks as well. So there's multiple categories within this Qualys as well. So if you're looking for cloud, you can choose the cloud VMDR. If you're looking for the on-prem, you can just choose VMDR. Yes, it works for both the cloud and on-prem. So having office work too, that's why can you please confirm that? Yes. So it would be constant from 8:30 to 9:30 every morning. And this will be a recorded session. So in case if you do miss this every day as soon as the session gets done, so you will be getting the recordings of this onto your mail every day after the session is done. So within 2 to 3 hours, so as we save it out and share it across your Google Drive. Okay, any more questions before we wrap it up? So can you please explain about zero-day vulnerability? Yes, definitely. Zero-day vulnerability is one of the critical aspects. So now how do we identify them? So how do we fix them? So how do we prioritize them? So definitely I'll be talking about zero-day. So does this work with AI? So AI is a part of every security solution these days. So now as I talked about automated response here, right? It is not just about detection. So it is also about how do we respond to these vulnerabilities to fix it as soon as possible. So now this is an automated response that uses AI to patch the vulnerabilities. Yes, it also uses AI. So I can see the title as CrowdStrike meeting. Or you take yes, yes, I yes, yeah, okay, I did not observe this. Yes, just like Qualys, we do also have CrowdStrike. So as we talk about Qualys here, all L1, L2, L3 level, so we do also have CrowdStrike services, CrowdStrike courses here, which I have completed yesterday and started Qualys from today. So that's the reason. So it was actually scheduled to take it on 5th, but as I had CrowdStrike classes to complete, so that's why it has been rescheduled to 8th for today. So yes, so that's nice. I ready. Please get in touch with me or Lokesh. So we'll try to get you enrolled for the next course of CrowdStrike. So yes, I can definitely give you once you get enrolled to that. So the see, I will not be taking multiple tools at the same time. Either I'll be taking I'll be taking two sessions for security every day in the morning. So one is for Security Operations Center where we will be learning a lot of SIEM, SOAR, even a part of EDR, a part of even vulnerability management. That is all concentrated on L1, L2 tasks. And the other class, either I'll be taking CrowdStrike or MDR or Qualys. So CrowdStrike completed, we've done with EDR, we started Qualys. And so for the next, within the next 15 days, we will start the CrowdStrike as well. Okay, yes, already completed. Any certifications under this course? So there's a lot of certifications that you can do from multiple security providers, but so if you could talk about any certifications in vulnerability management, there's not a specified certificate, and even if we do it, it might not be that much useful. But instead of choosing any vulnerability assessment certifications, I would better go with some sort of management level like CISF or CISSP. So these are the good certifications that you could do. But I wouldn't prefer you to do certifications just for vulnerability assessment. CrowdStrike certificate, any probable. So Sai, you have my number on the WhatsApp. So let me ping you guys. Hello. So on WhatsApp, I just pinged you on WhatsApp, so you can get in touch with me. I can share you these things. So maybe I can also help you to clear your CrowdStrike certifications. If one start, just let you know. Sure, Venu. So I'll definitely know about it. Just ping me over so that I can have your numbers as well.
I'm on
Yes, Mohammed.
EDR training.
Yes, EDR training.
What time is it?
So it's already done. So we're gonna get to launch the next batch by most probably at the third or fourth week of this month. We'll let you know about it.
Okay. Is it Defender or CrowdStrike?
It is CrowdStrike, not Defender.
Okay. You don't take Defender? No.
No, so I wouldn't be
Okay.
taking Defender. So Defender, see, as I mentioned in the beginning of our lecture too, so in cybersecurity tools doesn't matter. It can be
Mm.
it can be Defender, it can be CrowdStrike, it can be Sophos, it can be Cortex, any EDR. So the process, the platform works in very similar way, but they have different components in it. But the process of mitigation, the process of threat hunting, the process of incident response would just be the same. If you can learn the process, so you can use any of those tool. It doesn't matter with the name of the tool.
Okay.
Okay, perfect then. So already we've took 5 minutes more than what is assigned for us. So and I've also been having the sessions from 7:30 until now. So even I'm going to get to feel a little tired now. So I think we can wrap up our session today and we'll meet you guys tomorrow at the same time. So we'll go in depth from tomorrow, understanding the architecture, understanding the key. Now, what are our day-to-day roles and responsibilities when you start working for your job in your environment? So, what would be our daily task? What would be our weekly task? So, how would you, as you just asked now, what would be our intention in vulnerability assessment meetings? So how do we perform different types of scans, do some installation, deployment and configuration of these sensors? How do we do asset management, vulnerability findings, so prioritization and giving automated response? Whatever the day-to-day responsibilities on real time, so we'll get to understand each of this from the next few lectures from tomorrow. Right, son. Thanks for your time, guys, and I really appreciate that. I'm glad that I could able to meet you. So, we'll meet you guys tomorrow at the same time. So until then, have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. Bye bye, guys. And
Thanks, Moses.
if there's anything that you think that I can be helpful, so you can just ping me up directly on WhatsApp. So any requirements of your job, if you need job support or if you have some trouble making your resume, not getting proper calls, or if you're moving from non-technical to the technical domain, so in case if you need any support of mine, so in any security platform, it doesn't matter if it is a VM or a SIEM or penetration testing, cloud security, I'm here to help you. Just ping me over, so I'll see what I can do for you. So anyway, thanks for your time, guys. We'll see you tomorrow again. Bye bye. So please do not miss to join for tomorrow. Bye bye. I'm wrapping up the session. Are we okay to go to wrap it up?